Welcome back to our video, and we're going to go over how I set up a full functioning daycare center in The Sims. The packs that you will definitely need are your business and hobbies expansion pack. Now, from there, what you get is kind of optional if there's certain baby items that you want, if there's certain things that only come in certain packs for the decor that you will want. These optional packs are Parenthood, Growing Together, and the mod that if you want to, you can use the Control Any Sim mod, and of course those will be available on PC, Mac, but not on console. So I'm going to show you how I made a full functioning daycare center. This daycare center is a live-in daycare, but you can make one that is a not live-in daycare. This is just one that I've always wanted to do with a live-in option. So right now we have the Little Tykes Daycare Center, as I've called it. We've moved in our sim, and we're also going to showcase how I set up the living space. So this is where the sim lives. They're also very artsy, so there's something that they do for themselves. But this is the main daycare center. They have for the infants and the toddlers, and then they have some outdoor items. I actually do need to add some sand because I wanted to make a little sandbox. I have that in another save. And then we have the kitchen where we'll cook for them, and there's fun stuff that they get to do. So when you have this, of course, you need to build it to your liking. If you would like to get this build, it is in the gallery under my gallery name, Lunagalaxy 33, where you're welcome to download it. But we have our business here, so we're going to register our small business, and then we're going to get everything set up how we need to be. This is where you're going to set up how you want your daycare to run. With this being an at-home daycare, my focus for this daycare isn't really selling, so the sim will have to do other things to get some income and especially try to boost up its rating. It doesn't bring a lot of income in the beginning. So especially if you're not going to have like a side thing where you're doing parenting classes or you're not selling stuff. This sim is literally just getting paid hourly for watching kids. There's no classes that they're doing. There's no lectures that they're doing. So this one is a really like small business. So we're going to give him a little logo here, and we'll call it Tiny Tykes Children's Daycare. Daycare Center. We're not going to do a preset, but we can save a preset, and I don't think I have any of mine saved on here. So, depending on what it is that you want your kids to focus on, that's what's going to happen here. We're going to do, I want them to perform puppet shows. We're going to do a little bit of tying in play with toys. So, if you do play with toys, they'll play with a dollhouse, handheld toys, large stuffed animals, and block play toys. If you do infants and toddlers, then it'll tie in the tents, play mats, nesting blocks. So this kind of ties in everything. So I'm going to do play with infant and toddler toys, and then the big kids give them the option to play on the playground equipment. And then from there, it really just depends on what you want your kids to work on while they're here. Because we only get so many options. So it's going to be a interesting way to kind of pan out everything. But those are the things that we're going to go for. Now, we're going to do an hourly. And our price modifier, we're going to boost it up to a little bit higher. So, for your target customer, you're going to want to go to Supervised Customer. Mark this criteria as required. And in this case, we want infant, toddler, and child. If you only want toddler and child, if you only want infant, that's completely up to you. Caregiver stays at business. This is where you want the caregiver to drop off the child and they're welcome to leave. You want to unclick that. This is what makes it a daycare center, where the parents drop off and then we're going to go from there. Now that criteria is mandatory. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at financial status. This one we're going to look at, we're going to do moderately. So this isn't going to be mandatory. We suggest to have Sims that have 10,000 to 500K, but we're not going to make it a mandatory. We're just going to say that's our target customer because that's going to give us the most money, hoping. And then that's our daycare center. So now, how we have it set up, we're going to go ahead, and I want this to run as a full day. So I'm going to move this up in time. All right, so now the daycare is open, and we will begin to start seeing Sims come in and drop off their children. There are some things I'm going to go ahead and add that I didn't add before. Like I said, I realized that we didn't have a TV, so we're going to add a little TV. So as you can see, we do have Sims checking out the daycare. He is talking about the daycare, but clearly not facing them. But we have Sims actually going ahead and checking in. So we have our first customer here. And so now we can welcome this child to the business. When you drop them off, it's pretty much an interaction you're going to have with the child. And then this is where control any sim, if you have that mod, would come in handy. If you wanted to control this sim and have them, you know, do the kids stuff, but they will go around and do the kids stuff on their own. Sometimes this has been really hectic and sometimes it hasn't. It really just depends. Sometimes I have a lot of toddlers, sometimes I have a lot of children, sometimes it's a even mix. So I think that's one thing that I like about being able to do this, is that you never know which you're going to get, if you are going to get a lot or not. Oh, look at me. I'm bringing in Caden to daycare. That's my sim right there, and that's my I'm dropping off my son Caden for daycare. That seems about valid. That seems about right. Alright, so now we have some more kids that are getting out here. And I think having him come out here and talk about it is helping get more people in. So there's that as well. There are ways to get people into your daycare to get it to run and get it to run smoothly. Because we're not focusing on parenting classes and all of that, so it is going to rely on how many people can we get to pull in to sign their kid up. And like I said, I have mine signed up for hourly. So now we have a couple kids in here. One of them is putting on a little show, and so we have some kids watching. So with this sim being out here actually giving a little speech about his small business, it's actually helping pull in people. If you don't, then it will hurt you a little bit, because like I said, this daycare, we're not focusing on that. But let's at least, and you still get a little bit of raise if you go ahead and like talk to the kids and like welcome them to the business. So you still have to kind of interact with like a customer wise thing, because that's also going to help you go up in your star rating. So you can unlock some other things in your small business. So you don't want to just have the kids come in and then physically watch them. You actually still want to interact with them business wise. And then let them continue on as they go play on the things that they want to play on. We have kids playing on the playground, and you can interact with them that way. So you can really have fun with this when you have a sim that wants to run a daycare and you can have it functioning. We're going to wrap this day up. We have been open for 8 hours, and you can hire people too. So if you wanted to have an employee, maybe that employee is in charge of cleaning, and etc., etc. It just depends on how you want to wrap it up. We're gonna go ahead and close the daycare, so we can see what an 8-hour shift of income would be depending on how much you put into recruiting and starting off. So we made 142 simoleons with the first day opening. Like I said, it's not going to be a huge profit depending on how you run this. The next daycare I'm going to build is going to be a bigger facility, and it's going to have a conference room for like parenting classes, and it's going to have an infant room, a toddler room, and etc. And we're going to run that a little bit differently to pan out the differences in how you could run a daycare center. So let me know what you think of being able to run a daycare in The Sims. Are you excited to maybe try something and find ways to make this a lucrative income? And do you prefer having an in-home daycare or more of an actual daycare business? Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, hit that little bell so you don't miss any of the next videos. And let me know down in the comments what are some other jobs and businesses that we should build in our Sims game. Have a good rest of your day or night wherever you are. This is Lunagalaxy out.